Welcome, everyone. This is South Africa against Netherlands T20 Cricket World Cup preview from Adelaide on Sunday, the first of a three-leg triple header, actually, to finish off Group 2 on Sunday. And this is probably the most important match, Kev, because it's a simple case for South Africa. If they win, they're in the semi-finals.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because in an ideal world, Game 1 and Game 2 would be swapped around because obviously Pakistan can then get above South Africa and at least make, all three games mean something. Obviously, as you say, if South Africa win this game, the second game's null and void and the third one ain't really got a lot on it either. So a little bit disappointing the way that it's all worked out, really. But like you say, it's all on South Africa. It's exactly the same situation that England were in on Saturday. Win and you're in, lose and you leave the door open.
Exactly that. And let's look at the conditions for the game, as we always do. From the Adelaide Oval, of course, we know about this ground. It's an oval, long down the ground, pretty short on the square boundaries. We're on the sixes in Australia's innings here on Friday. Unfortunately, we were 1-6 short, which actually surprised me. Do you think this venue's playing a little bit differently because of the time of year or not?
No, I don't think so. There was just an insane amount of fours in that innings, weren't there? I mean, Warner hit 5 of them. Maxwell hit half a dozen of them. One of those clears the ropes and we're in. I think even Mitchell Marsh hit 2 or 3 fours as well. Usually 4s and 6s on this ground are kind of balanced 50-50 or close to it just because of the shortness of those square boundaries. But that wasn't the case in that Australia innings. It was nearer 75-25 and... yeah, it didn't go in our favour there. But no, I think the pitch is playing pretty well. The one thing I would say, though, is they are taking a little bit of turn here in Adelaide. So obviously they've not had as much rain as some of the other places, albeit obviously the India-Bangladesh game here the other night was rain affected, wasn't it?
Yes, and the forecast is very good. This is quite an early start time, actually. I think it's the earliest start time of the whole tournament. Local time. Is it something like midday?
I think it's earlier than that. I think it's
even earlier.
I think it's 11 a.m. Yeah.
Effectively, almost like a test match start time then. So I'm not even sure if that will have much of an effect. Most of these games have been sort of in day-night fixtures towards the evening, so different conditions.
I don't think it'll have too much effect in terms of conditions or anything, but it's certainly in terms of the crowd and the buzz and it's that lack of a spark. It could have that, couldn't it?
It can be that way. Anyway, point being, we're going to have a great day of weather for all three. Well, 2 of the matches here, and then the third match is on Sundays at Melbourne. Let's talk about the teams then. South Africa, simple equation for them: win the match, they're into the semi-finals. This is a team that's historically has bottled some crucial occasions. This is obviously an important game, but the pressure's not as high as it would be for, say, a semi-final or a final, is it?
Well, no, it's not. But, do they want to put their eggs in the Bangladesh basket by losing this game? No, they don't really, do they? Obviously, they messed up against Pakistan on Thursday. I say messed up. They were going along okay, weren't they, until the rain came, and quite how they ended up needing as many as they did in as short a time as they did. I think it was just because of 2 wickets that they lost just before the rain break, so that was a bit naive of them. I think South Africa will win here. I don't think they've got any problems whatsoever. I think there's 3 key factors in this game. I think the South Africa pace attack is now the best pace attack in the competition for me. It's surpassed the Pakistan one. It's got the depth. I mean, Marco Jansen can't even get in it, and anyone who watched the Test series in England in the UK summer will have seen what a talent he is. But all 4 of them are contributing: Parnell, Rabada, and Geedy. And if those 3 don't get you, then it's pace like fire from Nortje, isn't it? And that's a big thing. The Netherlands batting, the wheels have well and truly come off of there, if they were ever on the wagon anyway. 90 odd all out against Pakistan, and I mean to say they fell over the line against Zimbabwe would be doing an injustice to falling over the line. I think they lost 4 wickets for like 5 runs with the winning line well and truly in sight. It was just ridiculous, and they did that in 2 of their group games, didn't they? Which is why they almost came a cropper in that third game of that first group. So that's 2 things, and then obviously the other thing that's going to go right into South Africa's hands here. There's a few clubbies in this top 6, isn't there? And they love nothing more than clubbing it over square and mid wicket. So they've got the ideal ground to do that.
Very short price favourite South Africa. No surprise to see that 1.06 is your top price on them. Is it a load up the wheelbarrow job, get your cash down on South Africa, or
I mean,
are there better value?
We'll cover the other two games in other things, but you could easily stick a treble of the three favourites in on Sunday, because you're not going to get paid out much, but you're going to get an interest at the end of the day, and you will get paid out. So yeah, it's something like that. I've tried to look for another way in on the South Africa win, but I just can't find one. The fact that they only have to win just puts me off of any other markets, really.
A Sunday T20 parlay sounds like a bit of tasty fun there, Kev. On to the Netherlands then, who I can never really get this team, I must admit. They surprise me sometimes in this tournament, and then yet they've fallen apart at times as well. They're going to be up for it though. It's their last match. There's pride at stake here. They want to be party. They would actually love to put a spanner in South Africa's works, wouldn't it? And they're playing with no pressure. So, what part of the Netherlands team can sort of hurt South Africa? I don't think it's the worst matchup for them. We know they struggle against spin. South Africa don't really have that much spin.
No, that's very true. And the one thing you've got to say about the Netherlands, their bowling attack all through this competition has been very, very good. I've regularly spoken about Leader, but it's not just been him. Paul van Meekeren, I think, is the leading wicket taker in the Super 12s, or very close to it. I'm not sure if someone overtook him in those two matches on Friday, but he's very close to it either way. Brandon Glover's been a breath of fresh air since he come in. Fred Klassen, Kent fans will know all about him. So their bowling attack is serving them well, but it doesn't matter how good your bowling attack is if you can't score runs. So whilst I subscribe to the fact that bowlers win T20 matches, someone's got to score runs, and that's where the problem is. If Max O'Dowd doesn't score runs for this lot, who does? The one thing you would say is that this Dutch batting lineup, they are used to playing pace and bounce because they all play in county cricket. Okay, there's not too much pace and bounce there, but it's kind of similar to that. And there's an awful lot of South African heritage in this side. I mean, Roelof van der Merwe and Colin Ackerman have both played for South Africa in the past, and there's one or two others that could play for South Africa were they good enough to get in what is a talented South Africa side. So they might be looking to knock off their sort of superior sort of nation, really, and that they've got that going for them. And we saw how close Afghanistan came to polishing off Australia in exact same situation on Friday. So I mean, you can't completely rule it out, but for me, the Netherlands aren't scoring enough runs. I mean, you have to put two of their innings together to get a decent one in this tournament, don't you? And that doesn't cut the mustard.
You're absolutely right. You've got to get some runs, of course, to win matches. O'Dowd has looked good when he gets in, but it's about getting in for him, isn't it? And the problem he's got here, he's going to be facing the fastest bowler in the world in Andrik Norgher, who is, in the 95 mile an hour plus potential. So that's going to be a rude awakening for the Netherlands batsman, isn't it? However, the one bet you've got for the game is in the top South Africa bowler market. You're not going to be taking Norgher. You are looking at Shamsi to be the top South African wicket taker, a 2-unit play at 4-1. Is this sort of a value pick based on price, or is there something sort of surrounding the attack here, South Africa, that you think he can get more wickets against this Netherlands lineup?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I'm trying to find a way into this game, Steve, and the angle I'm taking, rightly or wrongly, is that if South Africa have got the game won, they'll save their quick bowlers for the semi-final rather than absolutely pound them on a pretty docile Adelaide wicket. Like you say, 11 o'clock in the morning, the game starts. So it's going to be fairly fresh. No one's going to be really up and firing and everything. So it might even be that this is the game that Jansen comes in and someone like Rabada or Nortje, who have plenty of injury problems in the past, get a little rest. Even if they play, they might only just bowl an over or two and then sort of spend the rest of their time meandering around the outfield. And the sort of part-time bowlers, Tristan Stubbs, Aidan Markrams, those kind of people, fill their quota. One man who's going to bowl all 4 overs is Tabraiz Shamsi. I've spoken all through the tournament how the Netherlands struggle against spin. If you look back 2 games, Shadab Khan ran through them in Perth, which doesn't turn at all. So that kind of shows you that we're right to flag that up. And even in the last game, Sean Williams bowled really, really well. And Zimbabwe might even have had a chance if Sikandar Raza had bowled more than 1 over in one of the biggest captaincy questions of the entire tournament. Shamsi's a weird bowler to face as well because he's left arm leg spin. The official term would be left arm Chinaman. And you don't get many of them around these days. And so
they're an old art, aren't they? A left arm Chinaman. I mean, I'm a left arm bowler, and there was a period in my life where I actually tried to replicate it, and it's impossible. It's like a very weird art.
Yeah, you look like a blended frog, don't you, when you're when you're doing it? It's very, very weird to. I mean, even normal leg spin is hard to pick, but there's just something about the fact that it comes from the other side that it's just really, really difficult. And the Netherlands won't have seen any of it, so Shamsi's going to cause problems here. This pitch was turning during that Afghanistan-Australia game. They may well be on a different strip here, but there are semi-finals here as well, so that's not guaranteed. So if they're playing on a used pitch, then Shamsi comes right to the party. He's in play anyway. Hopefully, the South African quicks don't bowl their complete allotment, but even if they do, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. And then Shamsi takes 4 through the middle order anyway, because that Dutch middle order hasn't got any runs at all. So I just think the way to play this is looking for the South African spinner to do some damage and hope that the quicks take it easy.
There's a way I could see the quicks not quite rattling through the order. It's a simple case of that the Netherlands just play and miss quite a lot because some of this pace is so quick that if it's not hitting the stumps, I'm not sure they're good enough to get nicks on it. I think it's either just going to come straight off the middle or, a leading edge or, it's one of those hold your bat straight and I'll hit it sort of thing because, they're not used to facing this. But the Netherlands, this is one of the worst teams I've ever seen against spin. Like any sort of turn whatsoever, and they don't have a clue. Like genuinely, I'm like, no one must bowl any sort of spin bowling in the Netherlands because it's just, they're like a pack of cards when anyway, if this Shamsi just gets on the spot and he does get a little bit of turn, then I can certainly see this a case of they might feel like they have to attack him as well because the reputation of those other bowlers is really immense and for good reasons. So it's an interesting pick, this one, Shamsi. The one guy, the one spinner, 4-1 to get the most wickets. Dead heat rules might apply potentially as well. We'll take a half winner. Quite like it.
Yeah, that is important, Steve. Check your rules for where you bet because some of them do most economical on a tie and you only need 1 over to go the distance and you're absolutely done and dusted. That's not the case at Coral, though. At Coral, you'll get dead heat paid out on a tie. So we'll take that rather than messing about with economy rates.
Let's have a look in the top batsman market for South Africa then. No surprise to see Quentin de Kock, the favourite to top score. Bavuma got himself even some runs the other day, didn't he? 5-1 dig there. Who would you be looking at here? You wouldn't be looking far beyond the top 3, would you really?
I wouldn't, but that Dutch attack has got 3 bowling attacks, batting lineups in this tournament. And if you wanted to find some value, it's certainly there. I mean, Heinrich Klaassen looked really, really good in the last game, and he's a decent price. Is it a game where someone gets shoved up the order, who hasn't had much of a bat so far? You've just highlighted one there. Wayne Parnell would be another one. Just to be comfortable that in a semi-final, if they need their lower or middle order to bail them out, at least they've had time at the crease. Are they going to use it this way? If they do, then there's 3 or 4 players there, Miller, Stubbs, Klaassen and Parnell, that are all candidates to go up the order. So it might be worth paying your money and taking your choice on one of them.
As far as the Netherlands are concerned, Max O'Dowd is the class act. We're on him outright for the tournament, top Netherlands batsman. And he's some way clear, isn't he, at this point in time? I do believe.
Yeah, we're cashing in on that. He's 89 ahead.
I mean, yeah, if someone else gets 80, if anyone gets 89 for the Netherlands alone here, I'd eat my hat, to be honest. So I think we can safely say he's in. He's the favourite. And he's the one, if he does get going, then, yeah, he's the best player they have. But, he's against a tough new ball, isn't he, here? So if it's someone maybe in the middle order who might be able to take advantage if wickets do fall.
Yeah, Cooper looked really good, didn't he? Against Zimbabwe. About time. I mean, this bloke's played in Big Bash ever since it started, so he should be used to the conditions. Senior player. I mean, the one thing that the Dutch needed for them to have any chance in this tournament was their senior players to stand up and be counted, and they've not been. They're two players that have really stood up. O'Dowd, the leader, they're both fairly young. Even Van Meekeren's pretty young. So it's good that Cooper offered something last time out. 13-2. I mean, he backed at 3 in that game, didn't he? So you'd immediately have value if he walks out at 3 again here. Just not so sure he likes the pace or the bounce, which is weird for an Australian, but he would be the pick even so.
Yeah, be typical, and it's Scott Edwards probably top scores now after we backed him the other day. But anyway, on to a quick recap of the game. One pick for this match, Shamsi, top South African bowler at 4-1 with Coral for 2 units. Do be careful, like Kev said, when you're betting on that market, make sure that you are on a dead heat. Rules apply in terms of most wickets, not the most economical bowler. Unless you fancy that angle in, of course. It's up to you, isn't it, at the end of the day? But do check the terms and conditions, as you should do with any bets, I must say, in cricket or in any other sport. So we're thinking South Africa get the job done. Maybe not as such a brutal bashing as you might think, because they just need to get the win on the board. But, do watch out for that Dutch batting attack struggling against the spin. Any final thoughts?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, you nailed it. you nailed it perfectly there. I thought you haven't left anything to say. No, you're absolutely right. This is one of those games that South Africa probably only have to play at 75-80% to win, and I can see them doing that. I think they're involved in the first semi-final, which is Wednesday, so there's a bit of a short turnaround there. So look out for that. There's no guarantee they'll be at 100%.
No. All right. Well, that is all for this episode. Join us again soon for some more previews on Sunday. From me, Steve Wyss, and Kevin Harper, take care. See you around soon. Goodbye.